What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, reviewing today PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds on the Xbox One. Now obviously, this is part of Microsoft's new initiative to bring early access titles to consoles. This game is very far from done, but they're currently charging money for it. So today, I want to dig deep into this best-selling masterpiece that apparently is taking over the entire planet and see if it's really worth the cash. Let me begin by saying that personally, I consider myself a huge console fanboy. There's something special about just having a controller in my hand, a disc in the tray, and going out for some thrills. With PUBG, I'm kind of just baffled that they managed to bring this over to systems because, well, it's huge and very complicated. You need to have quick reaction speed and a lot of luck to stay alive in this world for any amount of time. If you're looking for the short answer of whether or not I think this game is enjoyable on consoles, I do want to say yes. It is a total blast to play, but there are some rather serious issues with this version. In their efforts to cram this gigantic island onto the Xbox One, they had to make some sacrifices, and a big aspect of that was performance. I don't consider myself a graphics snob or a guy who's obsessed with every experience being this giant gorgeous adventure, but what we have here is clearly a project with some glaring programming headaches. The resolution is very low, bordering on early PS3 visuals. There's dramatic pop-in, making it so trees and buildings will often spring up right in front of you, and the frame rate is trash. They warned us that it wouldn't run at 60 FPS, and yet, at this point, I'd be happy if we even got 25 frames per second. Just as an example, look at this. I'm just doing circles in this field. I was looking for a guy who I just saw drive away, and every time I hit a bump, the entire game freezes for a half second. And even when it's not freezing, you can see that there's extremely noticeable stuttering. During intense fights, it's not uncommon for the game to freak out, leaving really intense skirmishes as a bit of a slideshow. While this is a total pain in the butt when it gets you killed, I do have to admit that I grew used to it rather quickly. It's like riding a bike with flat tires. When you first hop on, it's exhausting, but over time you adapt and soon you're cruising along just fine. That's not me excusing it at all though. This game still kind of sucks when it comes to that department. I'm just saying that PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is so very entertaining that it's possible to get past these clunky graphics. With that, I want to take a second to confess that I'm actually enjoying this game way more than I ever did on PC. As a console-heavy dude, I'm genuinely shocked that they managed to emulate the ultra-precise and serious controls of a hardcore shooter like PUBG, but on the Xbox. That being said, this is definitely a title for only the most die-hard of die-hard people. The moment your feet touch the ground, you are now in a game of hunt or hunter. That means you need to run, hide, and loot as quick as you possibly can while keeping your eyes on surroundings. In many ways, I feel like PUBG managed to create such a perfect environment for this kind of fun, but I do want to warn you, it does have a steep learning curve. They never explain the buttons and there is no tutorial. The only way to learn is to keep going into matches, get shot a couple times, and figure out what you're doing. For my opening 5 rounds, I was scoring kills and stealing cars like a pro, and yet I couldn't figure out how exactly to use items or upgrade my weapons. Perhaps the biggest key to winning comes down to how you deal with your inventory. There's different armor you can find, loads of guns, and most importantly, weapon parts. This is stuff like scopes and grips that let you change how your favorite toy shoots, which obviously makes it vital for staying breathing. Here's the thing though, on PC, this was done by dragging items out of your bag and onto a gun. Super simple, right? Well, for the Xbox One version, they had to make it more complicated, because obviously, you're having to do this with button presses. By using the right and left bumper, you scroll through your inventory tabs to select stuff like a specific weapon or a specific part. Now that may appear easy, but trust me, it takes a lot of getting used to. This is something that takes some time to adapt, and something else that kind of sucks is the fact that, well, you can't really just do it on the fly. If you pick up a really good weapon and you see somebody coming over a hill, good luck getting it ready in time. This meant that in many situations, I'd find myself looting a body of a person I just killed and then hiding in a shed or inside a house to further upgrade myself. I always felt like I had to play, stop, and then continue playing. It broke up the flow a little bit more than I'd probably like, and I think that they need to patch it so that there's a lot more of a quick equip system, as I'd call it. Something where as soon as I'm picking something up off the ground, like a red dot sight, I should be able to just hold X and slap it on top of the gun I currently have equipped. Make it where I can perpetually upgrade myself without having to open up these 15 tabs every single time. This brings me to the biggest problem of all in my opinion, which is that they tried to streamline shortcut hotkeys. Everything on your controller does two things. Pulling the right trigger is how you shoot, but holding it for a full second throws whatever grenade you have. Tapping X opens a door, holding X is how you reload. Pressing down on the D-pad selects a bandage, whereas holding it makes you start healing yourself. This intricate series of overlapping buttons is what took me the longest to figure out, because you don't really get a time to test them. When you're in a bloody firefight, it's do or die, which means that the last thing you're going to be worrying about is experimenting with how many seconds you need to hold the trigger in order to blow this freaking dude away. This absolutely needs to be fixed in a coming update, but since I know that part of the team that's working on this is the people who did Gears of War, they're working on the port, I have high hopes that this will be repaired and that they'll make this work a lot more smoothly. It's not that this stuff is flat out broken or doesn't function, it's just that so much of this feels incredibly unfinished, which this game is. I just wish that it was a little bit more polished before they put it on sale. I've seen a lot of beta tests or even alpha versions that ran better than this, but overall, this game is still fun. If you're wondering whether or not PUBG is worth buying on a console, I would say yes, but maybe not yet. I'm not really sure it's fair to give this game a rating because it is in early access, but if I had to give it a score right now for what they're selling, I would say it's a 6 out of 10. Technically, when it comes to a graphical and control standpoint, it can be a bit of a dumpster fire, and yet it's so enjoyable that most of the time when it's just me running around, driving, and getting in some firefights, I'm having too much fun to care. If you are a super elite, ultra hardcore shooter fan, somebody who plays Call of Duty 50 hours a week and loves Fortnite Battle Royale, I do suggest you check this out. Just be ready to be a little bit confused at the start. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. This has been DreamcastGuy with another review. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. I feel like some people might get mad at me for even talking about this game. Well, you know what? Here's what I'm going to say. If you're releasing a game and you're charging cash for it, I'm going to talk about it. So here we are, and I'm doing an honest review, and if you don't like that, oh well. Oh, hey, I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.